Well, GameStop's finally done it. They've made their big move. Now, if you've been kind of out of the loop on GameStop, they've been struggling pretty bad over the last 5-6 years, maybe. It's been about 5 years, I think, since they've really started to struggle heavily. Basically, the digital era is really pushing them out, and they technically exist in a marketplace that doesn't like them that much. They don't really support them. Like any of the developers, they don't like used games, for example, being sold next to the new ones that they would get, actual money from. So it's not surprising for GameStop to be struggling as the digital age takes over and more people stop going to stores to buy physical media and just buy it straight up on their Xbox, or maybe they've moved to PC. So you got PS4, Xbox, Switch users all buying digital more and more every year. And then, of course, some people just go into PC gaming where the physical marketplace is like non-existent at this point, pretty much. So what has happened today is interesting. It's not surprising, though. So you will see some people have takes with this where it's over, that's it. This is actually expected, what's happened today. And it is interesting for the person who is exiting, because they've been with the company for 23 years now. Yes, 23 years now. Rob Lloyd, he was the GameStop COO and CFO. He's actually stepping down and leaving. Now, he's going to be with the company through a transitional period up through July 3rd to just help out, like, hey, I'm going to show you what I've been doing. This is where we're going with it and everything. And that's not surprising to have that done. What's interesting is it does come a few days before they're expected to report earnings for the shareholders. That will be June 2nd. Yes. No, June 4th. It'd be Tuesday, next Tuesday. So June 4th, you're going to see that. So he's pretty much getting out of there just before those earnings go out, which, I don't think first quarter is going to be great for GameStop. And they have basically been telling people that they're going to be dropping down a bit. Now, I say this is expected because when they hired their CEO, who is George Sherman, the idea when he was brought in was that he was going to essentially form a new team and they were going to try to turn GameStop around. And they have some ideas, but the problem they're going to run into is their most profitable part, which is used games, by the way. They've even kind of broken down how much more profitable that is than their other stuff in recent press releases and everything. 8 to 9%, for example, for consoles and even collectibles, whereas used games were 40% profits. Like it really is a massive change. And they've done things at this point like try to get into esports, so we'll see how that goes. But what's happened today is Robert Lloyd is leaving. He's an old guard, essentially. He's been with the company for a while. He actually worked his way up the company a bit, but he's been there for 23 years, so a long time. He saw when GameStop was, flying high during the early 360 days, I would say. That's probably when they were seriously the most profitable and everything, and bringing the most money, and things looked great. Right around that time, because that's when I think gaming was really taking off in stores with the 360, PS3, and the Wii all at once. There was a lot of stuff going on then. A lot of consoles were selling. Games physically were selling heavily because the digital era had not quite taken off to where it is now, but it was showing up. It was a much different time, though. So what's happened now is George Sherman is going to be bringing some people in. There's actually a good write-up on this where it really goes through how they are doing this, but there are several places that have put out releases now for this, kind of detailing what's happening. Yahoo Finance is where we pretty much go for stocks and trading and everything, and they generally have a pretty good breakdown for people who are shareholders and everything, or looking at the stock trying to decide if it's on sale or if it's a death sentence for your money. A lot of people the jury's still kind of out on that one, if it's on sale or if it's a place to just throw your money to lose it. But we have 3 different people who are coming in. So George Sherman is going to be bringing in James Bell, who's 51. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these people are a bit younger than Robert Lloyd, who was 56, I believe. So some younger people coming in, people who aren't who have not been with GameStop for a while, right? Like we've seen Robert Lloyd be with GameStop for a long time, to where maybe he was kind of, he was stuck in his ways. You need a shakeup. If you're going to do this, you got to throw the Hail Mary pass. You got to restructure, and that's what's happening. Think of a sports team. If they start doing really, really badly, what do? You clean house. You bring in some new people to shake things up, bring in some new ideas. Now, for the most part, a sports team probably won't go out of business, right? But GameStop is definitely on a downward, right? They're rolling down. If you look at their stocks, it's not good. So they need to do this, and I don't know if they have. They don't have a lot of mulligans left. I don't think they make a bunch more mistakes. So James Bell, age 51, is appointed as Executive Vice President, Chief Financial Officer. They're going to be eliminating the COO position. What they're trying to do is restructure, save a little bit of money, but also bring in some people with some fresh ideas. These are all people who appear to have worked outside of the company and now are coming in. As an example, James Bell was worked at Walk Holdings, who was the parent company of P.F. Chang's. Just as an example. So not necessarily people who have a lot of experience in games, retail games, but sometimes, what? You need a change, like here's another one here. Chris Hameister, who is age 50 and Executive Vice President and Chief Merchandising Officer, is going to be his job now. It's effective June 10th. And he's actually from the board of directors for Tile Shop. So there you go. Like I said, they're bringing people in from other areas. Frank Hamlin might be the most interesting, as Frank has more than 25 years of experience in retail marketing strategy and customer loyalty and e-commerce. Customer loyalty is actually a bigger deal than a lot of people realize in like brick and mortar retail stores. You want the same people to continue coming back and feel like they're having a good experience. That's something I really realized back when we were running and consulting with stores is the people who would continue to come back and buy stuff were actually generally your best customers because they actually liked what you were doing there and would be more times than not, they would hold out for a game to be ordered in, right, for you to then sell them, rather than go to the big box store across the street even to get it right then and there. There is a sense of loyalty for customers if they really like the establishment. So I think that might be a good thing there for them to do. So this is their stock currently. It has dropped heavily, and I've been looking more and more into like stocks and everything. This is actually from their 5 years, but I've been looking more and more into it because that is of course how a lot of people end up retiring in the long run and everything. And it's become a little more interesting because it does keep popping up in the news for different companies. GameStop is the last they're like the last gasp for physical stores that are all based around gaming. After they leave, it's all Walmart's, Best Buys, and Targets and everything. So we are at that point now where GameStop is going to have to figure it out. They don't have much time left. I think in a good setting, if they can save money and cut costs, they could probably get a couple more years, I think, out of them without having to fold. But stores would probably have to be closed possibly as a cost-saving measure. I mean, 5 years ago, like I was saying, they were at the height back early 360 days. I mean, if you look at like even in 2015, they're at $46.20 per share. Now they're down to $7.44. And they've already dropped 2% today. It's not great. It really isn't. I mean, look back here when you had the 360 and the PS3 hitting it with the Wii. I mean, they were up to $62 back in 2007, right? That's what, 2 years after the 360 came out and a year after the PS3 and the Wii came out. They were riding high. I mean, really think about how far they've fallen since 12 years ago, actually 11 and a half years ago. They had a bit of a dip here, right? And then it jumped back up when the PS4 and the Xbox One released. So there is a chance they could actually see a jump when the PS5 and the next Xbox come out because they're still going to be physical. A lot of people are going to be going out and buying systems. And if they can start to turn things around at least slightly in their favor for customer loyalty, which I think is the biggest thing they need to do, they could actually spike their stock again around that time. That would be, we believe, holiday 2020 maybe. We're going to see after E3 because Microsoft is probably going to give us a year for the next Xbox. And if GameStop can be relevant then and not be gone by then, they have a chance to at least do better year over year, which is something they could work on and do. Now, it does appear that they want to work. The reason this team is coming together for this CEO. And again, this was expected. Here, March 21st, CEOs expected to lead a major overhaul. This is their Hail Mary. This is them saying, I'm bringing my team together and we're going to take a shot at turning this company around because they have to. So the idea here is that they want to focus heavily on services, customer loyalty, and subscriptions, different things like that. So they need to figure out their little sub card. They have to. $5 a month, not good. That doesn't make a lot of sense there. We've talked about that. I think the used stuff was better. They have to figure that out, and they have to figure out a reason to get people in the store. That's the biggest thing, you know. Their online shopping competes now with Amazon, which is cheaper at times. It gets to you faster, and a lot of people are already on Amazon, you know, like they're not a specialty company like GameStop. So you're maybe in a Walmart, you're maybe in a Target for other things. Oh, and look, there's a game section, you know? So GameStop has to figure things out. And there's also a strategy that I don't like as much that's been described in some of these releases as them being a hangout for gamers. I don't think that's a great idea. I've seen that before in the past, and when you become a hangout for gamers, you don't necessarily become a hangout for people who are going to buy things from you as much as a place that people go and just play games and then leave. So that's another thing. If they try to reinvent themselves as a lounge, I don't think that's going to work out as well either. So a lot of things to think about there, but this is not necessarily them having a downturn and this is it's over. They're you know, this change and shakeup is out of nowhere and desperate. It's expected, it's needed, and if they're gonna do anything, it's gonna be now. Like I said, I see this as their Hail Mary, as them saying we're changing up the top management and we're gonna take a shot at turning this thing around. And they are very fortunate that we're going to the next generation soonish. And I say fortunate because it's a reason for people to actually go out to stores, buy controllers, buy systems, and then you're there. I mean, you're probably going to buy a game, right? That's the hope. So we'll see. Interesting stuff, though, nonetheless, for GameStop. Let me know what you guys think about this happening. Robert Lloyd out, George Sherman building his team. What do they got to do, guys? Because they're down to $7.54 per share. Sorry, $7.44 per share. It can't go much lower. And what's interesting is I've seen some people kind of weigh on their mind about, should I buy into this stock? Probably not. I would give it a little bit of time. I'm not like a stock expert, obviously, but I feel like it's going to keep going down into there have been some analysts who've said $4 or $5 range. So we'll see. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. I'm very curious. GameStop shaking it up, bringing their team together. The CEO's team together there. The old guard kind of leaving and the new guard coming in, hopefully with some fresh ideas. Make sure you guys like the video if you liked it, dislike it if not, and I'll see you guys next time.